Hi, fourth graders. Today we are talking about lesson 103, fractions equal to 1 and fractions equal to 1/2. The new concept begins on page 654. Okay, each of the following circles is divided into parts, and together the parts of each circle make up a whole. Okay, so I have 2/2 equal 1 whole. 3/3 is the same as 1 whole. 4/4 is the same as 1 whole. And 5/5 is the same as 1 whole. Okay, so which of these fractions, example 1, which of these fractions is equal to 1 whole? 1/6, 5/6, 6/6, or 7/6. So which one of those can I make an entire circle with? Okay, that would be 6/6. So notice how I have the top number as 6 and the bottom number as 6, 6/6. Example 2, write a fraction equal to 1 that has a denominator of 7. Well, since we decided that this was equal to 1, if I want my denominator to be 7 and I want it to equal 1, then my numerator also has to be 7. If the numerator of a fraction is half the denominator, then the fraction equals 1/2. Notice below that the top number of each fraction illustrated is half of the bottom number of the fraction. So 1 is half of 2, 2 is half of 4, 3 is half of 6, and 4 is half of 8. So all of these fractions would be the same amount as 1/2. If I had 4/8 of a pizza, I would have half of a pizza. If I have 3/6 of the pizza, I would have half of the pizza. If I have 2/4 of the pizza, I have half the pizza. If the numerator is less than half of the denominator, then the fraction is less than half. If the numerator is greater than the half of the denominator, then the fraction is greater than half. Okay, so for example 3, which fraction below equals 1/2? So which is the numerator is half of the denominator. Okay, is this one, or this one equal to 1/2? Okay, so this one would be A equal to 1/2. 6/12, 6 is half of 12, so it's equal to half, which is less than 1/2. Okay, this one, 3, is less than 1/2 of 8. Half of, or 3 would be half of 6. So this would be less than that. And then which is greater than 1/2 would be 5/9. Example 4, I'm comparing 3/8 to 1/2. Okay, so if I had 3 out of 8 pieces, is that more or less than half? Okay, well, what is half of 8? If I had 8 pieces, what would half of that be? That would be 4/8. So 4/8 would be half. 3/8 is less than that. So then this is, nope, sorry. Try that again. 3/8 is less than 1/2. Example 5, round 6 7/10 to the nearest whole number. Okay, well, 7/10, is that more or less than half? It's more, so I would round it up to 7. Example 6, I think I missed example 5. Oh, no, example 5, okay. Example 6, estimate the perimeter and area of this rectangle. Okay, well, if I'm estimating, that means I am rounding. What am I rounding 7 7/8 to? I'll round it to 8. And 4 1/4, I round to 4 because 1/4 is less than 1/2. 7/8 is greater than 1/2. So if I'm finding perimeter, that means I'm adding all 4 sides. So 8 plus 4 plus 8 plus 4, which equals 8 plus 4 is 12. And then another 8 plus 4 is another 12. So 12 plus 12 is 24 inches. And the area is to multiply length times width. So 8 times 4, which is 32 inches squared. Okay, go ahead and do lesson practice. A, write a fraction equal to 1 that has a denominator of 6. Okay, so 6/6 would be equal to 1. Which of these fractions equals 1, 1/10, 9/10, 10/10, or 11/10? Since my top number and bottom number are the same on here, that is equal to 1. What fraction name for 1 is shown by each picture? Okay. In the book, all of these are shaded, so we're going to imagine that this whole thing is shaded. I'll just do it quick, I guess. Okay, so what fraction name for 1? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my fraction name for 1 would be 6/6 for C. And then D, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9/9. Write a fraction equal to 1/2 with a denominator of 12. Okay, so 12 is the bottom number. Think, what is half of 12? And that would be the top number. So you can just think, what is 12 divided by 2? That will give you half. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. So 6/12. Compare 9/20 to 1/2. Okay, so think to yourself, what is half of 20? So 20 divided by 2 is 10. So 10/20 would equal half. Is 9/10 less than, greater than, or equal to 1/2? Okay, less than. 9/20 is less than 1/2. Okay, last one. Round 5 3/8 to the nearest whole number. So think, is 3/8 greater than, less than, or equal to half? And it is less than half, so I would round it to 5 because I'm rounding it down. It's less than. Estimate the perimeter and area of a rectangle that is 6 3/4 inches long and 4 3/8 inches wide. Okay, so perimeter, I'm going to add up all 4 sides. 6 3/4 rounds up or down. Okay, we're going to round it up to 7 inches. 4 3/8 would round down. It's less than half. Okay, so 7 plus 4 is 11. And 7 plus 4 again would be 22. So my perimeter would be 22 inches. And then for area, I'm going to multiply 7 times 4, which is 28 inches. And since it's area, my label is inches squared. Okay, go ahead and do the reteaching, lesson 103. Check your answers. Good luck.